Step two, the resume. Super important. I put a lot of emphasis on this. You've probably heard it before, but if you haven't, you only have about 6 to 12 seconds to have the reader of the resume say, hey, I got to call this person. It therefore must be tailored to the job description. That's keywords. It's shocking how many people that I help don't understand that the job description is peppered with keywords. And if your resume isn't aligned, in other words, if they call the customer a customer and you're talking about you work with clients, you won't get through the applicant tracking software filters on an application. There's a chance your resume would never actually be read by anybody. You do all this time keying in the resume, creating a profile, applying at a company, and if it's not optimized with keywords, and so now I'm hearing key phrases. I've had one of my buddies, Pat Flotting up in Ohio, says you ought to embed phrases from the job description in the resume if you can legitimately claim that, to make the HR people, make it abundantly obvious to the HR people that you fit what the job description is looking for. Other couple things, resume should never be more than 2 pages. You never use the word I in it. I like the chronological resume. I also stress when I help people write their resumes, it's got to be impactful. You got to use numbers, percentages, and dollars to give size and scale to your story. And the older I get, as I said, I'm in my mid-60s. I'm starting to work with more people now that are director level and C-suite people, and I get really crappy resumes from these people. I mean, they're not tailored to opportunities. They don't use numbers, percentages, and dollars. So if your resume is a little devoid of that, don't feel bad. Just take action to correct that. And it's just hugely important. So what I was going to do now, I'm just going to show some example resumes that have worked out really well for some people. But any questions, Jeff? Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow?
Nope, doing great. Any questions in here before we move on? No questions here. I don't see any online. Oh, wait, hold on. We got one here. Hold on.
Sure.
You're recommending not to use the word I. So is it better to have a partial sentence like led a team versus I led a team?
Yes. And led, L-E-D, not L-E-A-D, led a team. Correct. Oh, you see it all the time.
Right. Anybody else in here? Okay. Tally ho, thanks.
No, that's good. And that's the kind of fundamental stuff. It's just great to ask that, voice it, and address it. Don't worry about this. This is an eye chart, but I want you to look at the overall look of this document. This is a professional laid out resume. You'll see there's a lot of white space. You'll see it's got a professional summary. It happens to be 3 sentences high. We recommend that they're no taller than 4 sentences high. Again, you have to write that professional summary, tailor it to the job description that you're applying for. Definitely got to take the time to rewrite this every time you apply. The competencies table, I like that. That's a neat way to get increase the keyword match. And then I get into experience. I kind of lay it out. Again, some dollars, some numbers. You don't want to blow their minds with all kind of numbers and percentages and things to where it's nauseating. But you do want to give size and scale to the opportunity. And then this particular one ends with an education section. This is kind of a blow up of it, and it's just a mock up. It's actually a real resume that I what do you call it, redacted for the book. In the upper right there, the hyperlink to LinkedIn, that's a pretty cool thing you can do. I talk about it in the book. That's a neat way to take them from the document. They can click on that and literally go look at your LinkedIn profile, which is where the photo should be. You never put a photo on a resume. It's another thing. But anyway, the other thing I think Rosina mentioned, that you want to kind of stand out from the crowd. I try to encourage that in the professional summary. and some kind of a turn of a phrase or something that you're comfortable with that might separate you from the crowd. This particular one, I like this, the way this one ends with strives to pull sales through distributors by solving technical or commercial problems that create accountable value. It's all about creating accountable value. And again, no more than 4 sentences tall. Competencies table. For this particular person, they were experts in these industries. And when you're doing consultative technical selling, active listening is a big deal, asking a lot of open-ended questions. Selling through distribution, that's a big deal for a lot of companies looking for technical sales or applications engineers. The experience table, lo and behold, with all of the work I did in trying to make things look good for the book, I actually have the registration of their service there, the 12-2018 to 09-22 is out of registration. I looked at it this morning when I saw this, it jumped out at me as like, son of a brick. The 07 one should have been pushed over a little farther, the one down on the line below. But I will tell you that applicant tracking software, if you write like July 2013 or December, it could choke on that. The people that I've talked to about this, they like to see numbers, 07-2013 to 12-2018, that kind of stuff. And be honest, if you have gaps, so be it. They're going to do a background check and they'll see disconnected service in your background. So just be honest, be able to explain why there might be a gap if you have a gap in the career. But again, some numbers, some dollars here to give size and scale to this person's background and the education. A little kind of the caboose on that. But again, it's super critical that if they're looking for a certain type of degree, if you don't have it, there's a good chance you'll get filtered out on that. Now, that said, if you're networking in and someone is going to give you a personal reference and they're going to vouch for you that you have the skill set and the experiences and the interest, but you don't have the degree, that in that instance, I would let that person tell your story for you. Another one, this one's a little, again, it's a bit of an eye chart. Another variant on the theme. This is actually an individual that I work with. He reached out to me to try to join Timken about 5 years ago. And I worked with him and we created this resume, and he got picked up by a machine tool manufacturer. He's flown to China for an interview. He got picked up by an outfit that I knew in Oklahoma City. And then he was repping another company that I referred him to. Great guy. Again, fake name, but the gentleman is doing quite well. And again, a little bit of sizzle here in this thing. Highly skilled automated machining system sales professional, 10+ years of experience designing custom CapEx systems that most cost effectively meet project and payback ROI requirements. We worked a long time on developing that sentence. He's expert in understanding which material removal process will be accurate, reliable, and deliver the tolerances and surfaces required for aerospace, automotive, and complex ultra-precision parts made from the most advanced materials. All legit. The guy was in Wichita, Kansas, right in the backyard of Spirit Aerospace, where they make the fuselages for the 737. So he was just awesome in this space. And then we gave some color here. In this instance, we put a little descriptor about the companies, again, redacted, but we burrowed in some of the companies that he called on in here, hopefully to get their attention. Did not have a college degree. The guy was a School of Hard Knocks guy, but really knew his craft, and just a great guy, good friend now. The other thing, again, with a lot of the folks with all the experience that's in the room, there's something called a marketing brief or a one-pager. It's a different animal. And this thing isn't really necessarily tailored to an opportunity per se, but this is often, some people call it a networking document. It's a one-pager. This is an example of it. A friend of mine that I helped created this. I think this actual template was from an outplacement service, but I made a mock-up of this. Actually, this is something related to something our daughter does. But anyway, it's a little wordy, but again, you can put dollars and numbers in there and tell a story. But then it opens up to tell people what you're interested in doing, the types of companies you're considering. This talks about her roles in some productions that she was in, and some of the skills and things that she has. But this one pager is not bad for people that have a wealth of experience, and the chronological thing just doesn't fit on 2 pages anymore. So kind of the conclusion of the resume, you got to make it compelling. You got that 6 to 12 seconds to get a reaction. You got to tailor it. You got to do the keyword match. By the way, if you're not familiar with it, there's a website called JobScan, JOBSCAN.com, JobScan.com. You take the word description of the word version of the job description, the word version of your resume, drop them in, push a button, and it just spits out everything for you in seconds. Gives you the keywords, gives you your rating. If you don't have a keyword match in the 80% or above, you're probably got to go back and rewrite it and revisit it. But if you apply and you've got a 30% or less, or 50% keyword match, there's a good chance no one will ever see your application. Should never be more than, oh, go ahead, question?
It's jobscan.co. It's not com. Jobscan.co.
Oh, I didn't know that. I always got it was com.
Yeah, no, it's .co.
.co. Okay, cool. Thanks for clarifying that.
Jobscan.co takes you, but or .com takes you, but yeah, it's .co.
Okay, so you're familiar with it.
I got it all the time.
A buddy of mine, it's funny, a good friend of mine in one of these schools, a hard knocks guy, just really, I was trying to get him into Timken Company, and he didn't have a college degree, so we couldn't do it. But he sent me his resume. He got whacked, and he said, and I said, I'll help you out. He sends me a 7-page resume. And I said, Sammy, 7 pages. He's like, yeah, I never get any calls. I'm like, yeah, no, of course you don't. No one's gonna, I don't care. No one's gonna read that. You got to net it out, buddy. And anyway, we helped him, and sadly, a competitor picked him up. A great guy. Never use I. We talked about that. Chronological, tell your story. Definitely tailor it. Use dollars. Use percentages. Use numbers, and of course, references upon request. Never, and no photographs. Your LinkedIn profile should have a professional photo. We'll talk about that in a minute. And you got so much real estate on 2 pages, so references upon request it's passe. Of course they're available. Of course you're going to get references.